You cannot afford to miss a single moment of the next hour. Get ready to have your ideas about sexuality, love, and relationships blown wide open. It's time to get educated, entertained, and enlightened, as well as sexually empowered. You have now tuned into the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show. Now, here's your host, Tanja
Hello, everybody.
Right, exactly. I can't even say hello. I'm laughing too hard. Hey, everybody. It's a Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show, and we are here, and we're laughing. And in fact, it was laughing so hard just a second ago. Poor Billy. I just threw Billy for a loop.
That was nice.
We both
Nicely
paused.
I know. Well, you know, because these guys always say, okay, so, what are you going to talk about? What's going on? And I'm like, anal bleaching. And Billy's like,
As a guy, what do you respond to that?
There we go.
Good luck to you.
Right. Well, I mean, so here's the thing. I looked it up, so I heard about this thing called Brighten Your Button at a spa. And I'm like, brighten your button. Well, that's cute. That's cute. What is that? Okay, well, that's anal bleaching. Yeah, okay. And, I'm pretty contemporary.
Just what every family needs.
Well, God, I'm down. I'm pretty contemporary. I like to, stay up on things. And so I had to, check that out. Of course, in my mind, these funny things come up.
She's got her papers here. She did some research.
I did some research. But what really makes me laugh is, my immediate thought is, okay, just the phone call. And so I have to go do this. I have to go do the phone call. Can you imagine? Ring, ring, ring. Hello, blah, 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 blah. So, hi, I'd like to make an appointment to get my button brightened. Oh, yeah, okay, great. And is there anything that I need to do in particular before I
in preparation
come to this event? Oh, no, just come right on in. We've got all the color charts and everything. Okay.
Color
okay,
charts.
Great. Yeah, so now I'm in there, and you can only imagine, they're going to bend you over something or lay you down somewhere. Do they have a cheek spreader? Are
you asking me?
Well, I'm wondering. I know you're over there eating chocolate. Josh is over there just smacking on chocolate. But I'm wondering, do they have an ass spreader? So that the bleach doesn't get anywhere except exactly where you want it?
It's a two-person operation?
I don't know. So, and do they ask you, do they say, so do you want that Jenna James pink or that Nina Hartley, some porn, because this is porn star pink we're going for here.
Right. I wonder if you can get it darkened. You can have your eyeliner tattooed on. Why not have?
Right. What if you're too pink? What if you have a man or a woman that prefers your
What if you want
button?
kind of a purple ring?
Right. I know. So, there's a lot
Am I
of
taking
questions.
this in the wrong direction?
I don't know. Well,
Okay,
it's interesting to me that, with all the things that we can do.
And spend our money on.
And spend our money on, that we have some really amazing things going on. So, I just want to know. I want to know, do they check with me on my skin tones about what color I'd like? Do I get to pick a certain star that's, interesting? Do I just leave it up to the operator? What do you call them, a stylist? Are they,
would that be an
stylist?
esthetician?
The esthetician? I don't know who does
the
these
asinist? Or?
The asinist. Do they
what
get
kind of training do you have to go through?
Do they get
buttonator?
training? The buttonator.
Is it like watercolors? Do you just go pick one and just go with
That's what I mean. Where's the shade chart? Do I, according to my skin tones, what did I used to be? So then I had to get into this. So, all right.
Or can you mix and match?
Is this like one side?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to be that pink. So,
multicolored on the way down.
I know, really,
ring.
trust me,
Yeah,
graduated. It
ring.
can be like,
there you go.
We get crazy. Look at this. Anal bleaching, not just for women. Okay, so apparently, men can do it too, but then we've got to talk about that whole incident of hair. Because, if you put a bleaching solution on skin, if there's any hair around, it's going to go orange.
That's going to be intriguing.
Right, so you're going to have bright orange anal hair along with your pink button.
I'm thinking that the guy who's down for having his button brightened also has already been waxed, porn ready.
Maybe, yeah, maybe so. So there you go. Yeah, waxing. Yeah, because these.
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah. All right. So anal bleaching apparently is just one of the wide varieties of new non-invasive procedures that assist in creating, you guys are going to love this, total colorectal beauty.
Colorectal beauty.
Total colorectal.
They're just
beauty.
throwing that in there to sound technical, because we're not even talking about the colon at this point,
No. All TCRB components help not only appearance and hygiene, but assist in restoring the lost youthful innocence, elasticity, and confidence that age and improper food choices often erase. Did you even give that much thought to your anus?
Never.
Now, like, in Tantra,
Button bleaching will restore
your
elasticity.
I don't. No.
And youthful.
No. That's just one. The bleaching is just one of the components.
One of the components. Okay.
TCRB, that's total colorectal beauty, is not just a catchword. It's a beautiful and natural lifestyle. So there are people out there now. Look, in Tantra, we revere the entire body. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, the anus is called the lotus blossom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We love to give the anus respect because that's your first chakra. That's family,
Yes.
tribe, finances. That is a very, very important area of healing, pleasure, respect. It's important. Okay.
Big
So
time.
we're down with that.
Down with that.
This stuff.
That's kind of interesting. I mean,
don't
if
know
they're
what to
talking
do.
about the colorectal system,
No. This is the
they're just talking about
outside.
button painting.
Right. So if you're tired of looking at a pulsating mini-me of the giant caves of Borneo in a UPS truck, delivery truck color scheme, imagine what others think when they view your well-used and discolored portal of secrets.
Well-used UPS truck
Brown.
caverns of what?
I know. The giant caverns of Borneo.
I'm sorry. If they're giant caverns of Borneo, no amount of bleach is going to change that effect. If you've got an aircraft carrier, you just got to roll with it, We're talking surgery at that point.
Oh, my gosh. And no amount of quick fixes like the lookout below will ever get to the root of your discomfort in sharing your portal of secrets because these sort of anal makeups are cover-ups and don't address the three primary reasons for anal discoloration and disfigurement. They do not eradicate those rather freakish effects.
Okay.
So somebody is really, really serious about this total colorectal beautifying.
Okay, so with you guys both knowing quite a bit about Tantra, is this someone just trying to make a quick buck out of this, or is this an actual real deal thing?
Well, this isn't about Tantra. I mean,
it sounds like this
guys,
part of the article is
But-
an actual real review of it, and
Exactly.
with critical review. But yes, button brightening is real. It is going on. People are doing that.
Yeah, of course. The porn industry started that, just like women who are having their labia cut and lasered back to look like prepubescent girls and everything pinked. I mean, everything's being bleached. The inside of the thighs, the vaginal area, the rectal area, everything going back to that pink supposed innocent, that's what they were saying here, which really kind of scares me, that loth, youthful, innocent.
I don't know about that bright color pink. I mean,
I don't know. So I went out. So, okay. I started asking guys this then. So I wanted to know, really, is it that important? So I went out and I started asking men, excuse me, hello. Can you imagine this? Hi, I'm Tanya Diamond, and I want to know, do you feel like your girlfriend should have her button brightened? And of course, they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, anal bleaching. Do you feel like your girlfriend should have her anus lightened back up? And they're like, what? And most of them were just kind of appalled. Like, and I said, well, you watch porn. Does your girlfriend's look like the porn star?
I'd never thought of that.
Right. And a lot of them had said, I'd never thought about that.
The lights are usually dim.
Right. And then there were those few ones that were like, well, no, I do know there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay. So there's a difference. And would you ever bring that up? Like, hey, honey, so I'm wondering, I got you this for your birthday. It's a gift certificate to the Madison Spa for brightening your button.
Right.
Anyway, so there's a whole article here on this. And what they're saying is basically when you eat crappy food, crappy food
Okay.
like this, we got that. Dark feces out, and it all starts with garbage in and dark feces out, starts with food and drink. The dyes and the processed foods will carry us, through, and then basically it stains you when you are wiping. So they have a whole wiping, how you correctly wipe here and all.
Well, why don't we just go for the European and Japanese trend and
we
start
need the bidet.
start having bidets?
Well, that's clear.
Yeah. Okay, we're on the same page
That's clear
with
that
that.
we should have a bidets. Anyway.
Everybody listening know that we support bidets.
Well, because there's nothing worse than having to the toilet paper crumbs on women. And men are pretty cool about that, I think, for a rule. But as women, we're always wondering, geez, should I go rinse off real quick because I got the toilet paper pieces, whatever, stuck everywhere. And, it's good etiquette to do that, but yet some men don't like you to rinse off because they actually like how you smell and taste the way it is. Anyway, bidets would just change that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there we have it. So
so junk foods have dyes in them and create poor quality bowel movement, which creates poor
the staining. When you wipe, you get stained, and then, you're
I
supposed
can
to...
hear that, but at the same time, as a person who's been in holistic health for a lot of years, if someone's eating a lot of good quality greens and
They're gonna be
foods that are
staining
really
green,
good
right?
for the liver,
Yeah.
that's going to create a dark stool because that's part of the biotic exchange that happens. So the better you're being to your liver, the darker the stool, it's still going to be dark.
Right, and beets and all these raw vegetable type
There's
things.
A way to
carrots.
go. Have a lot of beets a couple days before. That'll bring some bright red into the action.
The green
but then
neutralizes the red. Because green takes out red, so maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so there's a whole bunch of different types of bleaching. There's level 1 bleach, level 2, level 3. Wow. Like, if you're level 3, if you're stubborn, for more stubborn coloring, level 3 is a lye chemical isolated bath may be required. And this is like, you're given a local anesthetic. Okay?
Oh, joy.
And then while laying on your stomach for 2 to 3 hours, depending on the stain severity. So, wow. So, I don't know. I guess really I could go in and have somebody...
What if you have darker skin?
Paint a little bit of bleach over there.
Some women with darker skin, their areola, of the breast is darker just because the quality of the pigment in their skin. So you can expect that every other area of skin that's going to be darker in concentration of pigment is going to have the same thing.
Right. Well, but it's okay. So after successful bleaching, it leaves the area snowy... a snowy white ice, or the patient may go home or opt for area coloring that ranges from light pink to rich ruby red. So in other words, you can bleach it all out and then add tint back to it to get it where the color you want. This is, people, are you listening to me here on the radio here?
I like my ladies olive.
All you thousands of people listening to me all over the world. This is crazy. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm wow. Okay, I think we could do something different than getting. I think we can do
something. Okay, here's my economic strategy.
Okay.
All the people spending money on things that just cause me to shake my head.
Yeah.
We're gonna pour that back into the economy.
Right. Yeah. There we go.
In a different way.
So now, if you're a porn star or you make your living showing your rectum. Then okay, maybe there are some aesthetic reasons for that. If your boyfriend or your girlfriend totally says to you, that's really, really, really
that important, thing is falling apart. Get it fixed.
Then maybe okay, fine. We believe, all right. Anyway, that's crazy. But as even crazy as that is,
it's probably expensive because somebody's got to play with it for the hour.
Well, right, you got to get somebody's time to do that.
Chemicals, training.
I know. Anyway, I'm gonna further investigate this.
Okay.
Okay, I'll head to the spa. And I'll ask those questions.
Have you made the phone call already?
No.
Okay,
I keep forgetting about it. Remind me.
Thank you.
Remind me to make the phone call. Okay.
Phone call first.
Wow. And so you're shocked. What's this got to do with sex? Well, this is the sex part. Tantra, love, sex, and intimacy.
Tantra, love, sex, and intimacy.
Or the crazy part.
Health, hygiene.
So did we talk about I read that. So then I read that whole article about the whole G-spot injections. And we talked about that, didn't we, on the radio?
Yes, and I've got some other things to talk about today.
Because I wanted to know, quite frankly, why we don't just learn how to be aroused instead of injecting our G-spots with
so many people don't even realize that there's something that can be done or learned about that.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get out too far here, let me answer a question that we got an email on.
Excellent.
All right, here we go. I like this because I have to put on my glasses. It makes me look all like librarian.
I like the librarian fantasy.
The librarian look. Okay. Hi, Tanya. My guy occasionally has challenges maintaining his erection. Maybe it has to do with anal bleaching. He says he's in his head too much. Is there anything I can do to help him with this challenge, or is it all in his head? The head of his penis, his head. Okay.
Can we make a rule?
What's that?
Anybody sending any questions via email, I would love a phone number, obviously if it's national. Or maybe we can Skype or instant message.
Well, this person actually wants to be anonymous.
That's nice. And I always have more questions.
I know, you have more questions. So, first of all, here's my funny with this. We'll answer the question seriously, but here's one of my funnies. So, I always let all my lovers know, up at the front, just, before anything gets going, it's like, hey, if you ever have any issue with an erection or whatever, it's just no flipping ass big deal, okay? This is like Tantra. We don't worry about these kind of things. It happens, right? So I'm not going to say, oh, honey, that's okay, because that's horrifying usually to everybody. And the
axe has fallen.
Right, and, you can always, if you feel needed, you could always say, hey, headline, I think you're really attractive. I love how you look, and I don't know what's going on here. But every single man says, "Oh, no, never happened to me."
Whatever.
I wish until sometime in the relationship when it does happen. Now they've left me with this. Oh no, before I met you, it's never happened, and now it has.
What a setup!
That's
what
horrible.
A setup!
So that's not cool. Okay. So is it just me?
No.
Is that the problem? It's just me?
And then one step further, as I've been learning about Tantra and learning how to move my energy so that the experience can be heightened and drawn out into a whole deeper experience, well, if I move my energy out from my first and second chakra, so from the area of the Vajra, as I'm learning how to move that energy out of there,
you will have some softening.
There will be softening.
Right.
I mean,
that's the whole point.
One of my most hilarious moments when I first started practicing EJ Mastery was I was getting up to that 9.8 and I realized I was not slowing myself down, and then I hit the brakes really hard and I did my breathing techniques and I pushed down with my breath to really relax those pelvic floor muscles, and I went from that 9.8 plus arousal and dropped myself back to like a -2 in arousal. If anybody wants to know what I mean by that, and it is possible, just send me an email. It was amazing. So I went from woohoo, both of us screaming and rip-roaring pleasure, to you. And I was like, oops, sorry about that. And it was funny. Well, I was laughing, and I'm like, sorry, honey, I pushed myself.
You see, you've also learned that the erection is not the main event of
And she was even like, oh, I'm sorry, it's okay. And I'm like,
oh my God, yeah.
She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm all okay. There's plenty of other things to do waiting for that to come back.
I know, I like that. Are you going to be okay? No, I think that was the last erection I'm ever going to have in my life.
It's never going to happen again.
That is the actual fear. Okay, so to answer this question, all right, the guy occasionally has challenges maintaining his erection. All right, so there's two reasons why erections fail. Physiological and psychological.
Yes.
All right. Physiological, so if he'd never had this problem and all of a sudden, he's maybe in his mid-30s, mid-40s, let's say 40 plus, and he's starting to have this problem, is showing up every once in a while, it could be physical or emotional. All right. If it's physical, it can be a couple of different things. Generally, it's stress-related, meaning the muscles are too tight, and they're not allowing. Most people think that to get an erection, you have to be in tension, and actually you need to be relaxed so the valve works on the penis to allow the blood flow. That takes relaxation. So, what she doesn't say is, okay, if this just started, did he go through new job stress, just got married, changed houses, whatever. If he's stressed out, and it's an emotional problem because it's causing tension, which is physical. Or plaque buildup, smoker, drinker, some type of medical situation going on.
Right.
So either one of those things. Generally, it's not because he's not into the woman he's with. That's something like, because men can sally forth even if they're not. Right. I mean, it takes a lot. If there's a huge amount of horrible things going on in the relationship, then it can be that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's about the relationship, stress, conflict, being in conflict in the relationship, there's going to be conflict internally that causes loss of erection.
Right. So I don't know. I don't have enough. He says he's in his head too much. Well, that's surely going to do it. I mean, if a man is thinking he's stuck in his head, he's not feeling his body very much, then yeah, he's not feeling his body, and therefore he's not going to feel a whole lot going on there. So that's about, maybe some massage first, relaxing. Of course, we've got our V-book for breath work,
right,
which does that. We've got, now don't be, the title of our PE, Premature Ejaculation ebook. I keep wanting to tell everybody, and I'm going to make another, I think I'm going to make the same thing with another
two titles.
Because our You've Been Lied To About Premature Ejaculation ebook is actually a level 1 ejaculation mastery or sexual mastery book. So everybody that calls me up to want to learn how to be a great lover, that's the first ebook that I have them read. Because
Assignment 1.
It's all about your anatomy, what makes ejaculation happen.
It's really understanding. I don't know that it needs to be changed in title, but when you finish your ejaculation mastery book, that should be chapter 1, because as men, I think we're all brought up to consider ourselves premature or short travelers.
Well, if 87% of women don't climax during intercourse, and men think that they have to...
All men are premature.
Yeah, they have to last long enough for a woman to do that.
But it's that, how many licks does it take to get the bottom of a Tootsie Pop? 3. How many strokes does it take before I'm like, oh no, I'm premature? Yeah. That if there's a lot of arousal and a lot of tension.
Right. Then it's really quick. So what we can tell her is that... anything she can do to help him with this challenge, or is it all in his head? Well, even if it is all in his head, yes, you can help him. And more than that, there's a tantric technique called painting the yoni with the soft on.
One of my favorites.
I know, and I don't.
And it's such
I don't
a short
get
game.
to do it. I know. That's the bummer. So, the great thing about a man with a soft on, and if you find one, grab it fast because this is exquisite, and you just can't do it for long, unfortunately. But you lubricate the yoni, you lubricate the vajra, and then you paint. The vajra paints the yoni.
Use it as your paintbrush.
I know, and there's something exquisite about both those skin textures together. They're the softest things around. It's just amazing. And unfortunately, the paintbrush does not stay that way.
It's hard. Next thing, you got to put it someplace.
Right. So for long. So you could do that. It's like, hey, honey, and just you could just straddle him and decide that you were going to do that, and say that's fine. I don't want your action.
I have to also mention another fun activity. Had a lover once. Mouth was somewhat small, and I, with my studies, oral sex has not been as critical. I enjoy it and love it, but to receive it is not critical. But there I was with a soft on. I said, hey, I would love to feel your mouth on my soft on. That would be fun.
See?
And, within 10 seconds or less, it was no longer soft. I'm like, any other place you'd like me to put that for you?
Right. Well, the other thing is there's some men that actually can't get erection. They've had prostate cancer or something else like that. So there's still the things you can still feel and you can still have fun. And in fact, for men that have been paralyzed from the waist down, we can teach them how to have orgasm without ever getting an erection or feeling anything. So, there's just a huge amount of information that we have surrounding these things. But so the biggest thing is, number one, usually if a man's never had a problem with maintaining an erection and all of a sudden he does have a problem once, he can really get freaked out about it.
Yes.
So then the freak out causes a cycle of, oh my God, I wonder, I'm wondering if it's like, I think, it's like one of those things where.
And then if he does get an erection again that evening or another time that you're making love, he's thinking about, I hope I don't lose it. I hope I don't lose it.
Right, and if something starts to soften a little bit, I think really the reality is you just need to be okay with going from soft to hard. My favorite way to make love, to have sex, all of that, really is, kind of like having the foreplay and the oral sex and all of this, and then having some intercourse, and then going back to the oral sex and doing some more of that, and then maybe some intercourse, and, just really varied like that. And so if you're doing that, the man doesn't have to be erect for 2 hours.
That just made me think also. I confess, my mind either goes to sex or food. I'm thinking about when I go to an East Indian restaurant, I'm a buffet guy. I love going to the buffet. You get so much value.
There you go.
And the reality is I can load up my plate, or I can take a little sample of everything, go back to the table, see what I really love, and then I'm not full. And I can go back for more.
There you go.
A little bit, little samples, different flavors.
Tantra like eating.
Yep. So
I don't know if this answered the question other than, number one, let's not freak out about whether the erection's happening or not, because there's so many more things to do. Intercourse, people, please. It's not the end game.
Right.
It's not, if we could just lose that, then we'd be doing much better. Tension, learning how to breathe abdominally. We've got products that relate to that. Getting rid of that physical tension, and then learning how to, once again, breath work too, to get out of his head into his body to start feeling more.
Yeah.
And then to just be okay. Everything is okay. There's some tips.
Some other things to talk about this that I always wonder: what time of night, what time of day are they starting to play?
Right. Is he just tired?
What, if it's the end of a long day, end of a long week. Were you drinking alcohol?
Yeah.
Did you have a full meal? The Kama Sutra, the little of it that I actually read, I'm kind of a pictures guy. The Kama Sutra talks about the importance of, if you want your man to have appetite and stamina, do not feed him at the dinner table to satisfy him. Feed him to fuel him.
Right.
And so you leave him hungry
empty,
enough that he has appetite. Make sure he's well hydrated, but not full and laden.
Right.
And then the other key thing is, don't start too late at night. Eat early. Skip dinner. Make love and then have dinner after.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So there are some things. Now you said you're going to finish it. You're just tanking on that chocolate.
I can share it with you.
He's over there just twirling the chocolate. I'm not much of a chocoholic, but he's over there twirling the chocolate around.
Savoring it.
He's trying to do tantric chocolate over there. I just wrote something on I need to share this because I wrote it on my Facebook, and these listeners need to hear this. Fear. We talk about fear for a second.
Tell me about true fear.
True fear. Because you know what? I don't have much fear in my life. When I say that, it means that, if I'm going to do something, like I went race car driving, I did this, I'll have that little twinge and it's kind of exciting and it's like, ooh, yeah, a little bit scary, whatever. No big deal. All right. Okay. New definition for fear.
Tell me about
fear. Float plane, right? You're on a float plane, small float plane. 6 other people you don't know on the float plane.
Okay.
Right? You're co-pilot. You're cool. You're doing all right. You're 30 minutes from landing anywhere. And all of a sudden, you realize that thing you ate, it's not working so well.
Whoa.
I'm not talking in-flight puking. I'm talking the other way. Ooh. Sitting there with your gut starting to clench and you're thinking, oh, my God, I might have diarrhea right here in this float plane. What? Now, that's scary.
That's kind of anti-Tantra.
Well, no, that's pretty Tantra because that's about as real as it gets. Let me tell you, that is like seriously authentic. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I look down and I calculate that, we're 25, 30 minutes away, even though we got a little bit of tailwind, maybe we'll be early. I'm listening to my gut and I'm thinking, now, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I am resourceful. Okay, I am and I'm pretty badass. I've traveled all over the world.
You've had a lot of things happen and you've taken care of it.
Oh, yeah. I have I've had guns to my head about all sorts of things, right? And I'm trying to, how do you do this gracefully? This is what, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
By the way, pilot, what? It's a loud cockpit. Pilot, what?
No, everybody has earplugs on and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, so do I warn everybody? What's this? And then I got to get off, right? Then I got to get off the plane, right, with this, what conceivably was going to be a mess that happened. And then, get on the dock and then have this 10-minute walk up to the, there's a lake. I would just drop into the lake. So anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm freaking out. And then I realized, oh my God. So if I'm freaking out, I'm more tense. This is more inevitable. Go to the breath.
Excellent.
All right. Let us manifest complete. Now I'm thinking, wait, do I really want to relax my bowels? Is that a good idea, or do I want to keep them
only the upper floors?
Right. So I'm okay, I can do this. I'm breathing. I'm thinking everything is fine. I'm breathing. I am the epitome of chilly, mellow being.
Nice.
Okay. No, I have no gut problems now. My reality is, and so I'm talking it, and I was sweating. Okay. So I'm not. This is not just like, oh, I think I might happen. This is serious, okay? And, 5 minutes into this meditation, all of a sudden, I was okay.
Nice.
And I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll just keep that up. And so I was able to land, get off the plane, walk all the way up the dock to the bathroom, and I was fine. That's cool.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
My God. Anyway, so I was brave enough to write that story on Facebook.
That's not mind over matter. That's mind over, oh my God.
I'm telling you that I was thinking, and what, embarrassment, whatever. It just wasn't going to be pretty.
Right.
What's the etiquette? Do I stay and clean the plane? Everything's tight quarters. I'm going to, anyway.
That's different than the 1 hour cancellation policy,
Yeah. Anyway, so there's.
I would have told the pilot to fly a little bit faster.
Yeah. And I was trying to think, could I open the plane and hang, because I'm right at a door.
Sure.
That would have been a mess. Anyway, so.
They need to clean the outside of the plane.
This is probably, so between anal bleaching and this story, people are just really getting inundated this time.
Now, I had something to mention with the concept of the G-spot surgeries, the G-spot enlargements.
Well, it's injecting collagen into the G-spot to make the G-spot plump down into the vaginal canal.
Do those women have orgasms while they walk?
Well, some of them, so some of the stuff I was reading was actually talking about that kind of thing. So some of the women that had this done were actually just completely freaking out because every time they moved or anytime they did anything, they
there's
were
a reason
arousal.
that thing is retractable.
Yeah, well, there is that, right?
Yeah.
But even then, it's just so sad to think that that instead of actually taking the time to learn how to arouse ourselves and have our partners arouse us, that we would go and inject $1,800. It's there for about
Yanni?
4 months. Only lasts about 4 months. And there's necrosis and infection. You could lose your G-spot.
Give me these women's numbers. I've got a mission. Oh,
I know. Well, no, that's very true, that there's got to be some type of mission here that something is we're doing something. Anyway.
I made a field trip the other night after our meeting.
Okay.
And
so this is not the condom field trip. This is another field trip.
There was a new field trip. There happened to be a store open on the way home. And I said, at 1 a.m., our meetings go late.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there was a toy store, an adult toy store that was open at 1 a.m. And I decided, just as a reconnaissance mission, I wanted to see what they had. I went for a browse. And I was fascinated and intrigued to learn about something that they call the pump. I'll call it the yoni pump, but they called it something else.
Is this just for the clitoris, pumping up the blood?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. It looks like an athletic cup or those oxygen masks you see on TV.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like an oxygen mask with some lubricant so you can seal the edges, and you place it on the yoni.
Right. Over the outside.
Over the outside of the entire yoni. Right. And then you pump it up with one of those blood pressure cuff
Right. So
pumps
we're bringing engorgement and
blood.
blood.
So that they're pulling blood into the yoni. And some of the pictures on this product packaging, oh my God. Now, on the packaging, it was, honey, I blew up your vagina. But from having studied Tantra, I'm like, wow, an engorged yoni. A fully engorged yoni is a yoni that has become engorged with blood.
It can quadruple in size. I mean,
I'm looking at these pictures going, oh my God, that's the goal? Wow. Now, there's a part of me that was really intrigued to buy one and have it at home just in case I have an opportunity to use it. And there was another part of me that said, this is a step way beyond ejaculation mastery to really learn what it takes to fully arouse a woman to the point that her yoni engorges.
That much. Well, the thing is most women really, they learn to be aroused by what is available.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
By what is available.
Right.
Limited, lame.
Well, I mean, we're all ignorant.
Right.
Until we get education.
Right.
So you got to understand, when we're talking on this show, we're not downing anybody. We are saying that most everybody, I just did the couples intimacy weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. I came back from Canada, and I actually had a priest give me a testimonial for this event.
Well done.
I know. He thinks that this should be taught at all churches.
Absolutely.
So he was blown away. You'll see the video testimonials on Facebook and my website probably next week. Couples Sacred Intimacy Retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Couple flew in from Florida. We had all these couples. I keep these very small. They're just 5 to 6 couples.
Right.
And me for a weekend at a beautiful resort in Canada. In fact, we're going to schedule one coming up here spring. I've already got 3 people wanting to sign up for the next one.
Is that up in Canada or down here?
That's in the Sunshine Coast in Canada. A beautiful place called Half Moon Haven. And like I said, people are already clamoring to get into the next one because they heard their friends.
They heard how incredible it was.
Away, right? Anyway, absolutely life-transforming experiences with simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But I remember one of the wives turning to her husband and saying, I'm so glad we're here, and I'm so sorry we've just spent 10 years in ignorance. It's kind of like we did this apology ceremony for everybody, and it was important because I kept saying, look, you can hold on to the past and be angry about what you haven't had or what hasn't happened.
Or blame each other.
Right, but that's what I mean, and look at each other. Yeah. But you were all ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have tools. Now you have a way to move forward. There was a therapist there, and they'd gone through tons of different stuff, and we're just like, this is amazing. We now have hope.
Nice.
And the people that flew in from Florida, the guy's like, I feel like we saved our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And these exercises and connections that we do, and this is all safe. Nobody gets naked in public. People go back to their rooms to practice, but just the pervasive ignorance. Mm-hmm. Not just about sex, but about communication.
Right. So for the woman to no longer need to blame the man for being a man, but to realize it's ignorance that we're taught.
Right. And the man for the women, because the women are just as ignorant about how to have a relationship. Women will hold on to these things and never give a man an opportunity actually to get it right or to move forward.
Or to even teach him about her body.
Right. So really, really amazing stuff. And really, if you're a couple out there, and the people from Florida, they were like, this is so well worth the money to come up and do this. But I'm going to have this event, I think in March, and I'm going to get it scheduled next week. And it's going to be half sold out before I even get it scheduled. So if this is something you're thinking about, we'll be doing payment. There'll be a payment plan on it.
And one of the things that I think is really important that you shared with the people who went there, this is This is not a one-time thing. This is a commitment to the relationship. Personally, if I'm in a relationship that I'm really committed to the physical, emotional, and spiritual of it,
right,
then committing to it once a year,
every other year or something,
I would actually go the other direction. I would say if people committed to doing something like that twice a year, because how many couples really go home and for how long do they practice the apology ceremony, the gratitude ceremony?
So Jen and Chris, who own Half Moon Haven, who took the course last time from me there, said there were three things that they took with them and used and made a huge difference. But they came back and took it again.
Right.
And they were blown away. First of all, I'm an evolving teacher, which means that I never teach the same thing twice because I'm evolving in my evolution as well. And they said that, they went deeper this time. They realized how far they'd come, how much deeper they were going. And the whole group talked about how this is, if you value your relationship, you need to put, people go on vacation to get away from it all, but you're not learning any skills.
No.
You're just saying, oh, we're now away and we're connecting. How come it can't be like this all the time? That's why you come to this, and you find out how it can be that way all the time.
Absolutely.
So you could think of this as and then a couple got engaged while they were there. Jason.
Well done.
Jason. Yeah, that was awesome. What a great, she was so surprised, and what a great experience to get engaged when you are setting the foundation of your entire relationship.
Right.
So it was a great experience. And I think that, just if you want more information, get a hold of me about it. It's going to sell out quick. And it's one of my favorite things to do is that. But we have a workshop coming up so if you want something a little less big, because that's an all-inclusive weekend.
A smaller weekend,
We've got something in Orcas Island coming up on December 5th.
Ooh.
December 5th, it's a couples weekend, but it's not the couples sacred intimacy weekend. It's a different type of thing. And but it's going to be on Orcas Island at the Outlook Inn,
which is a beautiful place.
Right.
Just located on sacred ground.
Yep.
And it's an absolute beautiful, beautiful location looking out on a bay.
And so that'll be a couples thing, and we'll tell you more about that. It'll be more of that on the website here pretty soon, because that's just December. That's not that long.
That's close.
Guess what?
What?
Tomorrow's my birthday. You knew that, though.
I know.
I'm just telling everybody.
I've got it programmed on my phone.
Okay, I'm listening now. Everybody's singing.
Happy birthday to you.
I used to tell people 5 months before my birthday that this is my birthday. I've kind of chilled out a little bit that now. So we've talked about yonis and anal bleaching and couples and resurrections. And, what I need people to understand in relationship, and even if that's relationship to yourself, is that some of the most simple commitments to a connection exercise will make the most dramatic changes. A lot of people are afraid when their relationship is tanking or they're having problems, afraid to get help. They do talk therapy, and a lot of people when they come to me have done talk therapy, and it's not helping them. So if it's going well for you, that's great. Right. That's great. If it isn't going well for you, don't think that there isn't any help out there. All right, because there is. And it's very, very amazing how some very simple changes and some education can really make a huge difference.
Having some simple language and very direct coaching on some of the most sensitive, personal, what we would call intimate, but not in terms of sexually intimate, but emotionally intimate topics that counselors in an hour-long session every week typically doesn't go right to these core issues.
Well, even if they did, they were talking about them. Here, we're actually creating dialogue between the people. Then we're creating exercises between the couples so they feel successful. They're actually tangibly doing these connections so they know they work because they're experiencing the change right then.
Right.
I mean, you take a couple on Friday night and they're sitting there and they feel okay. And you look at them on Sunday, they look like different people.
Oh, absolutely.
Completely different people.
Absolutely.
And that's really, really cool. The church, so the guy that's the priest, was just blown away. You've got a hand up here.
It's like school again. I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those really stubborn guys, and I kind of go at my own pace. So with a whole bunch of couples going on, one's going slower than another. They're learning things at different times, and obviously they're taking it back to their room to do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But have you ever noticed any couples that are like, okay,
all right,
listen, they're not learning it, but I want to go back to my room and I want to try this.
Everybody, I have everything from really conservative, shy people that show up to guys that are completely blocked. Most women, there's been women that have shown up that are blocked. And what I mean by blocked is they're so freaked out or so, whatever. They're like, oh, I'm just going to learn more things I'm doing wrong. They feel like failures before they've even started. Mm-hmm. And remember, I mean, I keep things so simple that people keep being blown away by the simplicity of it. Like, oh my God, you mean that? I can't believe that works. Why didn't I think about that? Why didn't I do that? But, it's every single kind of person. I've had the, shy Asian woman with the hand over her mouth when she smiled. That's pretty conservative, pretty shy. I've had, the fairly fundamental Christian couple, show up at one of these things and, kind of look at me with a little wide-eyed, but went for it, and then were just like blown away when I was talking about bringing God into their bedroom with them. And they finally got it.
And there's an aspect of if someone's learning at a different pace or their level of comfort is at a different pace, the group is a reflection for each other. So even though I may think that everybody else is getting it, and here I am not getting it, and I'm getting more tense, my jaw is getting tighter, my relationship over the weekend is looking constricted.
Yep.
What ends up happening is when Tanya says, okay, does anybody has a question? How'd this work for you? So going around the group, how's this working for you? How's this working for you? Even if I'm not wanting to share, that's going to show on my face. What's going on for you? Well, everything's,
everything's fine.
No, that happens.
And that happens so that the person that feels like they're not getting it, okay, is the person that's actually bringing the greatest lesson to the entire group. Whereas I say, hey, I'm not getting this. We're having conflict. That means we're on the verge of a huge breakthrough. And because I've had the courage to ask the questioner saying, I'm having a problem, everybody else in the group is maybe afraid to ask that question.
Well, even bigger than that, Josh, is what happens is the way I lead these things, people actually, like one couple actually got into it in the room. And so I was able to coach them through.
When you say got into it, they were
like sex,
arguing?
Because what
they
happens
got into their
is
emotional responses.
A lot of people, before they come, they get nervous and fight. They also fight during the event when things get tense and they're about to go do an exercise and they're freaking out about it. Mm-hmm. So this couple got engaged, or engaged in an argument right in front of the whole group, and I was able to stop and coach them through it. And then later, this one woman said, oh, my God, I didn't realize what I looked like in my relationship until I saw that. Because it's my relationship. And then I saw that happening, and I thought, oh, my God, I do that. Oh, my God, that's what happens. She goes, and that was brilliant. And so each of the couples, by having a group event, you can read about Tantra all you want, but until you experience it and feel it, it doesn't matter. One of the guys said, I've been reading about Tantra for 10 years. And it wasn't until I actually took this workshop that I started to understand what it actually meant. Mm-hmm. And but it's like this divine experience where people will get triggered and have an experience that will lead other people to being able to go, oh my God. Like for instance, people say, what was a priest doing there? The priest is a friend of the people that owned the resort, and he came to pick me up at the airport. And my partner wasn't able to go, so I was there without a demo model or without a partner. And so they asked, do you mind if, he sits in? And I'm like, oh, that's fine. Okay. And then I find out he's a priest. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then his ex-wife, or they're separated, was the cook for the resort. So they, for 2 years, have been wandering around. They can be in the same room, but there was seriously
a lot of tension, and they more or less avoid each other.
Right. And at dinner, because during this particular event, I'm up at 7. I have all my meals with everybody, and I go to bed after everybody else does. Mm-hmm. I'm available all day, all weekend. I teach at lunch, I teach at breakfast, I teach at dinner, I teach after. Well, he and his ex happened to sit side by side at dinner, and I had told him this was going to happen. Mm-hmm. I did a healing ritual with them. I had them actually do some ceremony together.
Right there.
There at the dining room table.
Wow.
And it was...
Well, you had mentioned to me in sharing this before, how long did it take for her to actually be able to look him in the
Right, when face? I told her to turn around and look at him, and she started crying, and it took her probably 10 minutes to look up. Mm-hmm. And when she looked up, I led them through this little ceremony, this little ritual, and it completely changed. They ended up talking for hours afterwards.
Wow.
And it completely healed this rift.
Right.
And so here's, I have a testimonial of them. They'll be up talking about how, you know, they weren't even in the workshop. They were just there, right? One was cooking and one was doing something.
It was a healing opportunity for them because they still live in the same community.
Right, and it tore the community apart because they had a really big ministry and stuff like that. So maybe there's healing for that community now.
Right.
But, so it doesn't matter what level. People call me up and say, do I need to know about Tantra to go to those things? No. No, because, and even if you know about Tantra, you're still going to have an experience because I teach to the group. Oh, do we have a phone call?
Absolutely.
Fabulous.
You may or may not know her, Marie, personal assistant.
Marie, my personal assistant, my executive director.
That's what she said.
Exactly. Hello, Marie.
Hello, happy birthday, Tanya. Diamond.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow, anyway,
You're
right?
So welcome.
Right.
I know. I wanted to make sure that the rest of the world knows that. So.
Oh, see, how sweet is that?
Nice. Thank you.
That is so awesome. And I loved your intro video that I watched today.
You got to watch the videos.
I got to watch everybody's video, and yours was absolutely breathtaking. Thank you. You were so poignant and had so many great points. I can't wait to put this up.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to be out there as well.
So that was nice.
Great.
And that's
All
it?
right. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
I love my team.
They're
my team. They're such great people. And all right. What do we want to talk about here for the thing? We got 9 minutes. Hey, I want to say this to couples. Please do me a favor all over the world. Please don't wait till you're in a huge crisis to call me.
You mean to the very critical moment?
People wait until their bags are packed before they get a hold of me.
You get that phone call, Tanya Diamond, my bags are at the bottom of the steps?
I did. No, I've told that story where the guy's bags were packed at the door when I went in the door. And I have this to tell you. Even if your relationship is awesome, it can be more awesome. Why not get the tools now to bomb-proof it?
Right.
Right? That's what I have to tell you. People wait. It's the last critical moment. I still pull it out. I've only lost one couple where I actually negotiated their breakup for them.
Right.
Because if I don't think you should be together, I'll negotiate your breakup.
Right. You're not trying to save relationships. You're trying to help people.
Right. I want people to feel again, and I want people to have authentic relationships. And to do that, you have to have a safe container in which to express yourself to your partner. And that's what we teach you how to do. And, of course, then educate about, how to actually make love to each other's souls, not just your body, but your soul. Sex gets boring.
Right.
Basic sex gets boring after a while.
Basic does, how to be in adoration. And even using Tantra, if sometimes we get too excited and we sort of fall back to really enjoying, a lot of normal sex, we have to remember to, wait, what am I doing? I find that
you're just having a ripping good time. Tantra
having
doesn't
a ripping
take,
good time, but
Tantra's
to
not
remember,
taking anything away from anybody.
To remember to pause and integrate the things that I've learned.
Right.
One of my relationships, a beautiful, intimate relationship, and what I found is it became more and more about how quickly could we get to the intercourse sometimes, and I realized after a week of a lot of intercourse, as wonderful as that was, that the intensity of the energy had changed. And I realized, okay, that's because the things I did in the beginning of that relationship, the gratitude, the caressing, the building up, the dining sensually, we didn't have time for that. And so getting back to, okay, we've been busy, we've been moving, and instead of just blasting out the tension over my stress, let's pause. Let's just go back to the adoration I had for having the gift of an opportunity to be able to put my hands on a woman's body, on this woman's body. So in relationships, we get so accustomed to being able to get right to the yoni, to get right to the intercourse, and remembering that there's dialogue we can have. There's touching that we can explore.
Yeah, but then there's kids. And then there's busy.
And then there's get to it quick.
I mean, come on. The average couple, a couple times a month.
That's where caressing the body happens, in the kitchen, getting in and out of the car.
Yeah, but what if the kids see you?
Well, I think caressing and sensuality, clothed caressing and sensuality, the kids should see their parents in adoration of each other, in gratitude.
I agree. It's not going to do anything to them. It's not going to warp them.
What's the worst thing that could happen if a little girl or a little boy sees their father put his hand on their mother, clothed, run his hand down her back or across her hip, and pause and take a deep breath? And like, Mommy, what's wrong with Daddy? And she could say, he's in gratitude.
He loves me.
He loves
gratitude.
me.
He's in adoration of me. Yeah.
And
no, kids love it. You don't even have to tell. I have a child, and
yes.
I mean, she is very aware. You know, she's always looking and checking out what's going on, and it's like this. They get it. They get that that's good because they want to be cuddled and kissed and held. And so they understand that that's important. And I think it's a lot less weird than two parents that never, ever exchange any physical contact.
And then the kids don't know how to ask for contact.
Right. And then now we have 40 million sexless marriages. If we role model no affection and no physical and no sex, we teach our kids to be that way. And that's
tragic. That's tragic.
So the other cool thing that came from this weekend was that one of the participants there wants me to start teaching youth. And, I'm all on that.
All into that.
People
That's
keep
such
saying,
it's
easy.
easy.
What?
It's easy to help youth learn how to work with their energy.
Yep.
They're experiencing sexual energy, how to help them move it so that it doesn't make them crazy and make bad decisions.
Well, see, and that's the thing is that I think it's insane that we are telling kids, just don't do it. I mean, there are adults that don't have, there are adults that aren't just not doing it, right? It's 4 minutes to go. We'll talk about this at another time in more in depth, but we're asking kids, teens, barely teens, to have self-control when I know very few adults that have self-control. Yeah. So I think that's a little crazy, and they have even more hormones ripping around their body than the average adult does.
They're experiencing it for the first time, and it's intense.
Right, and so we need to stop telling them not to do it. We need to empower them to understand why they feel that way, what to do with their sexual energy, so they're making better choices. Because right now, they're doing it anyway, and they're making bad choices for themselves, for their future, for the community, for everybody. And it's not their fault. It's our fault because we're the people educating as society and parents. We need to educate them, and don't do it. That's just I don't know. Because then we can add fear, we can do all that stuff, and then then they're crippled adults when they get married,
right?
Sexually crippled by being told it's dirty and it's shameful and don't do it,
and then all of a sudden, go ahead and do it.
Right now you're married. Now it's not dirty and shameful and all that stuff. Yeah. Now you're ready.
That's a lot of programming and
a lot of them get married super early. So they can have sex. They're still not making a good decision.
And they're having kids before they're actually able to be providers.
Right. So the stuff is crazy. We're learning Tantra.com, and we're going to revolutionize the world. Nice. Not just sexually. We're talking life mastery, Tantra for business. We got
helping
a new
people
website
master
going
the
out.
relationships, whether they're in business, whether they're personal relationships, family, children, communities.
Yeah.
Can live more full, clear relationships.
It's really what it's about is actually authentic lives, living fully, being in full-blown arousal that's not just in your genitals, and showing up for the world, making conscious choices of empowerment. And we have a big mission. We want to teach people how to be leaders and healers. And just get some more empowerment with everybody. So when you think Tantra, and people say you're listening to this show, well, what's Tantra? Remember, this is not just a sexual experience. Tantra mainly is about life mastery.
Yeah,
and like
it's about being fully engaged in your life. It's about having things in your life that excite you to be alive. It's about being in integrity, being honest with yourself about what you do and don't want to have in your life.
Yep.
It's about knowing how to have deep, connected relationships.
With yourself, your planet,
starting
your community,
with
and everybody else in it, and your spiritual practice. This is not about religion. This is about a spiritual practice. If you're Catholic, you're Christian, you're Buddhist, you're any other religion, this will deepen your philosophy. This will deepen your personal experience with God, because it's going to show you what tools to use to create that openness and create that connection and create that awareness. This does not take anything away from your life in any way. It adds to everything you already have and
Absolutely.
more. And we are creating more product. We are creating more workshops. I'm busting my team out November 1st. I'm going to introduce my team to the world, essentially. If you're out there and you're not on Facebook, TANJA Diamond, TANJA Diamond, get on there, because we're starting to go to a fan page now. And we're learning Tantra.com. We're here to rock your world.
Absolutely.
And we will see you next week.
Have a great one.